The alarm screamed through Research Station Omega-7 like a dying animal. Captain Hannah ran down the metal corridor as red lights flashed everywhere. Her boots made loud sounds on the floor. Behind her, she could hear her team shouting, "Captain, the readings are off the charts," Dr. Tay called out. He was looking at his computer screen with wide eyes. "This thing is huge." Hannah stopped at the main control room. Through the big window, she could see nothing but stars and empty space. But the sensors showed something different. Something was coming toward them. Something very big and very fast. "How big?" Hannah asked. 50 meters tall, maybe more," said Engineer Wu. His hands were shaking as he typed on his keyboard. "And it's moving like nothing I've ever seen." The space around Research Station Omega-7 was supposed to be safe. They were far from any known alien territories. The station was built to study new planets and strange space rocks. It had some weapons, but they were small, just enough to break up dangerous rocks that came too close. "Where did it come from?" Hannah asked. "Deep space," Tay said. "It just appeared on our sensors 20 minutes ago. No warning, no signals. What's like it came from?" "Nowhere." The station shook. Not hard, but enough to make everyone grab onto something. Then the lights went out for a second before coming back on. "That was just a scan," Wu said, looking at his screen. "It's studying us." Hannah felt cold. In all her years working with alien life forms, she had never heard of anything like this. Most space creatures were small. The biggest ones they knew about were maybe 10 meters long. This thing was 5 times bigger. "Send a message to Coalition Command," Hannah ordered. "Tell them we have a situation." "Already tried," Tay said. "Something is blocking our signals. We can't reach anyone." Another shake. This one was harder. Some books fell off a shelf in the corner. Through the window, they could see small lights moving in the darkness. The creature was getting closer. "Everyone listen," Hannah said in a calm voice. "We need to evacuate. Right now. Get to the escape pods." "But the research," Wu said. "We have 20 years of data on this station. The data won't help us if we're dead," Hannah replied. "Move." They ran through the corridors. Other scientists and workers were already heading to the escape area. The station had 6 escape pods. One could hold 10 people. There were 42 people on the station today. As they reached the escape area, the station shook again. This time, it was violent. Hannah fell against the wall. The lights went out completely. Emergency power kicked in, giving them only dim red light. "It's here," someone whispered. Through a small window, Hannah could see it. The creature was massive. Its body was covered in what looked like crystal scales that reflected the light from the station. It had 6 legs, each one as thick as a tree. Its head was long and narrow, with 2 huge eyes that glowed with their own light. But the most frightening thing was how it moved. Despite its size, it moved with perfect control, like a giant cat. Every step was planned. Every movement had purpose. "Into the pods," Hannah shouted. "Now." The creature reached out with one of its claws. The claw was as long as their entire escape pod. It touched the station's outer wall. The metal began to glow and melt where it touched. "It's cutting through the hole," Tay yelled. People were climbing into the escape pods as fast as they could. Hannah made sure everyone else got in before she took her place. She was in pod number 3 with Tay, Wu, and 7 other people. "Launch sequence started," the pod computer said, in a calm voice that didn't match the situation at all. Through the pod's window, Hannah watched the creature work. It wasn't just destroying things randomly. First, it found the communication array and crushed it with one claw. Then it located the weapon systems and tore them apart. It knew exactly what it was doing. 10 seconds to launch, the computer announced. The creature's glowing eyes turned toward their pod. For a moment, Hannah thought it was going to stop them. Those huge eyes stared right at her through the small window. She couldn't breathe. Then the pod launched. They shot away from the station at high speed. Hannah was pressed back into her seat. Through the rear window, she could see the other 5 pods launching too. All of them got away. Behind them, the creature continued its work on the station. It moved from section to section, taking apart everything. With incredible skill, it wasn't angry or wild. It was methodical, like it was following a plan. "Look at that," Wu whispered. "It's not just destroying, it's studying everything first." He was right. Before the creature broke something, it would examine it carefully. It would touch it gently with the tip of one claw. Sometimes it would bring pieces close to its head like it was smelling them. "That's intelligence," Tay said. "High intelligence. But what does it want?" someone asked. Nobody had an answer. The escape pods flew toward the nearest coalition outpost. It would take them 6 hours to get there. Behind them, Research Station Omega-7 was completely destroyed. 20 years of research, gone. But as Hannah watched the creature through the rear window, she noticed something strange. After it finished with the station, it didn't leave. It stayed there, floating in space, its head turned in different directions. Like it was looking for something. "Searching," she said quietly. "What?" Tay asked. "Look at its behavior. It's not moving on to attack something else. It's searching for something." The others looked back at the creature. It was true. Massive beast was turning its head this way and that. Its glowing eyes swept across the empty space around the destroyed station. "Maybe it's looking for more stations to destroy," Wu suggested. "No," Hannah said. "It wanted to destroy more things. It would leave to find them. But it's staying. Right. It's looking for something specific." As their pod got farther away, the creature became just a small point of light in the darkness. But Hannah kept watching it. She had studied alien behavior for 15 years. Something about this creature felt different from what everyone was saying. They said it was a monster, a destroyer, a weapon of war. But to Hannah, it looked like something else entirely. It looked lost. Admiral Yoon stood on the bridge of the massive warship Starhammer and watched the holographic display with cold eyes. 3 full battle fleets surrounded the creature's last known position, over 400 ships, the largest military force the coalition had ever assembled. "Sir, we have confirmation," reported Commander J from his station. "The target is still near the destroyed research station. It hasn't moved in 18 hours. "Good," Admiral Yoon said. "Maybe it's sleeping. We'll show this thing what happens when it attacks coalition territory." Dr. Hannah stood at the back of the bridge, feeling uncomfortable in her borrowed military uniform. After the escape from Research Station Omega-7, Coalition Command had brought her aboard as an expert on alien behavior. She was supposed to advise them on the creature's weaknesses. But as she looked at the display, showing all those weapons pointed at one living being, she felt sick to her stomach. "Admiral," she said quietly, "maybe we should try communication." First, Admiral Yoon turned to look at her. His face showed what he thought of that idea. "Doctor, this thing destroyed a research station and killed 42 people." "Actually, sir," Hannah said, "nobody died. All the escape pods made it to safety." "That was luck," the Admiral replied. "This creature is a threat to every civilized world in the galaxy. We ended here." The creature appeared on the main screen as they got closer. Even through the camera, it looked incredible. Its crystal scales caught the light from nearby stars and threw it back in rainbow colors. Legs moved it through space, like it was swimming in an invisible ocean. "Range in 5 minutes," Commander J reported. "All ships prepare to fire," Admiral Yoon ordered into his communicator. Hannah watched the creature on the screen. It had noticed the approaching fleet. Its huge head turned toward the ships. But instead of attacking, it began to back away slowly. "Sir," she said urgently, "look at its posture. It's defensive, not aggressive." "It's retreating because it knows it's outnumbered," Admiral Yoon said. "Good. That shows intelligence. It knows it's about to die." But Hannah saw something different. The creature's movements reminded her of animals she had studied on Earth, when a dog felt cornered. It would lower its head and try to look smaller. When a cat was scared, it would arch its back and hiss. This creature was doing something similar. Its neck was pulled back close to its body. Its claws were extended but held low, not raised to attack. "Admiral, I think it's afraid," Hannah said. "Then it should be," Admiral Yoon replied. "All ships, fire." The space around the creature exploded with light. Hundreds of plasma beams, Laser cannons and missile strikes hit it all at once. The flash was so bright that the main screen had to dim automatically to protect everyone's eyes. When the light faded, smoke and energy clouds filled the area. Everyone on the bridge waited to see the results. The smoke cleared. The creature was still there. Its crystal scales were glowing brighter now, but it didn't look damaged. If anything, it looked angry. What? Admiral Yoon stared at the screen. That's impossible. Nothing can survive that much firepower. The creature's head snapped. Up. Its glowing eyes focused on the nearest coalition ship. Energy began to build between the crystal scales on its back. Evasive maneuvers, Admiral Yoon shouted. Too late. A beam of pure energy shot from the creature's back. It cut through the coalition destroyer like a knife through paper. The ship exploded in a ball of fire. Return fire. All ships return fire. Battle became chaos. The creature moved through space faster than anyone expected. It dodged most of the shots fired at it. The ones that did hit seemed to make it stronger instead of weaker. But the worst part was how it fought back. Each energy beam it fired was perfectly aimed. It didn't waste shots. Every beam hit a ship's engine or weapon system or command center. The creature seemed to know exactly where to hit to cause the most damage. How is it so accurate? Commander Jay asked as another coalition ship exploded. Hannah was studying the battle patterns on a smaller screen. It's reading our ship designs. She said, Look at the targeting pattern. It's not random. It's studying each ship type and learning where the weak points are. That's impossible, Admiral Yoon said. It would need advanced computers to do that kind of analysis. Maybe it doesn't need computers, Hannah replied. Maybe its brain can do it naturally. Another wave of coalition ships moved in to attack. The creature's response was even more devastating than before. It had learned their tactics. Now it knew exactly how to counter each attack. But something else was happening too. As Hannah watched, she noticed the creature's movements were becoming more frantic. Its energy beams were more frequent but less controlled. When it destroyed a ship, it would pause and make a low sound that the sensors picked up. Sir, she said to Admiral Yoon, I'm reading some kind of vocalization from the target. What kind? Hannah listened to the translated sound through her headphones. It was deep and sad. It's like a whale song, but more complex. It sounds like it's calling for something. Calling for what? I don't know. Maybe others of its kind? Admiral Yoon wasn't listening anymore. Half his fleet was gone. Ships were exploding all around them. His perfect battle plan was falling apart. All remaining ships, fall back, he ordered. Retreat to safe distance. The coalition fleet pulled back, leaving wreckage floating in space. The creature didn't follow them. Instead, it moved among the destroyed ships, examining the debris with its claws. What's it doing now, Commander? Jay asked. Hannah watched the creature carefully study pieces of broken starships. It would pick up a piece, look at it closely, then set it down gently, almost like it was being respectful. I think Hannah said slowly, It's sorry. Admiral Yoon looked at her like she was crazy. It just destroyed 200 ships. Look at how it's moving now. It's not the behavior of a mindless killer. It's examining what it destroyed. Animals do that when they kill something they didn't mean to kill. The creature finished its examination of the wreckage. Then it did something nobody expected. It arranged some of the larger pieces into neat piles. Like it was making graves. Admiral Yoon stared at the screen in silence. Around the bridge, other officers watched in amazement as the terrifying creature that had just destroyed half their fleet carefully organized the debris of their ships. Admiral Commander Jay said quietly. Admiral Yoon didn't answer right away. He kept watching the creature work. Finally, he spoke. Send a message to Coalition Command. Tell them we need new strategies. This thing isn't what we thought it was. Dr. Hannah nodded. She had been trying to tell them that from the beginning. But now, maybe they would finally listen. The creature finished its work and moved away from the battlefield. As it left, it made that low, sad sound again, calling out into the empty space, still searching for something it couldn't find. The emergency meeting room on Coalition Station Prime buzzed with angry voices. Representatives from 12 different alien species sat around the curved table, all talking at once. Their translators created a mess of overlapping words in the air. Impossible. clicked the insect-like Centaurian delegate through his mechanical voice box. Your military experts promised us victory. Instead, we lost half our combined fleet. The tall, gray-skinned Keth warrior slammed his forearms on the table. The humans brought this creature into our space. They should fix it. Ambassador Ben sat quietly at the human section of the table. She was a small woman with kind eyes, but right now, those eyes were tired. Earth had only joined the coalition 5 years ago. They were still the newest members, still trying to prove themselves. The creature didn't come from human space. She said calmly. Our scientists have confirmed it came from deep space, from outside known territory. Then why hasn't human military helped? Demanded the blue-scaled Vex commander. Where are your warships? Earth doesn't have warships like yours, Ambassador Ben replied. Our largest ships are research vessels and cargo haulers. This caused even more angry voices. How could humans expect to be protected if they couldn't fight? Why should other species risk their lives for a world that brought nothing to the war effort? Dr. Hannah entered the meeting room quietly. She had been invited to share her observations about the creature's behavior. Most of the alien delegates didn't even look at her. To them, she was just another weak human. The floor recognizes Dr. Hannah. Of Earth, announced the meeting chairman, a floating jellyfish-like being called Adrift. Hannah stood up slowly. Around the table, conversations continued. Nobody seemed interested in what she had to say. I've been studying the creature's behavior patterns, she began. I believe we've been approaching this situation incorrectly. How so? The Centaurian? Delegate clicked impatiently. We've been treating it like a weapon or a war machine, but I think it's actually a refugee. The room fell silent. Then the laughter started. Not friendly laughter, mocking laughter. A refugee? The Kith warriors. Forearms waved in dismissal. That thing destroyed 200 ships because it was defending itself, Hannah said. Think about its behavior. It doesn't attack first. It only fights when we attack it. And afterward, it arranges the wreckage respectfully. It makes those sad sounds we detected. Those aren't the actions of a mindless killer, ridiculous human emotion thinking, the Vex commander said. Animals fight. Animals kill. That is nature. But humans understand animals differently than you do, Ambassador Ben said, standing up to support Hannah. On Earth, we've learned to work with dangerous creatures instead of just fighting them. Give us examples, the Drift chairman requested. Hannah took a deep breath. My grandmother lived in the mountains of Korea. Wild tigers lived there too. Very dangerous. Other people wanted to kill all the tigers. But my grandmother learned their behavior. She knew when they were hunting, when they were protecting cubs, when they were just passing through. She never had problems with tigers because she understood them. Tigers are not 50-meter space monsters, the Centaurian pointed out. No, Hannah agreed, but the principle is the same. Every creature has reasons for its behavior. If we understand those reasons, we can find peaceful solutions. The alien delegates looked at each other with doubt. Our translators couldn't fully capture human concepts like empathy or intuition. These ideas seem strange and unscientific to most coalition species. What exactly are you proposing? The Drift chairman asked. Let me approach the creature, Hannah said. Not with weapons. Just me, in a small ship with basic supplies. The room erupted in shocked voices again. Suicide, the Keth warrior declared. It will destroy you instantly, maybe Hannah said. But maybe not. I've watched the battle recordings. The creature had many chances to destroy escape pods and small ships. It chose not to. It only attacks large military vessels. It proves nothing, the Vex commander said. It proves the creature can tell the difference between a threat and a non-threat, Hannah replied. Military fleets are threats. Single human. And a research vessel isn't? Ambassador Ben stepped forward. Earth officially requests permission to attempt peaceful contact with the creature. And when this human gets killed, then what? The Centaurian asked. Then we'll know peaceful contact isn't possible, Ben replied. But if she succeeds, we might learn something valuable. The debate continued for 2 hours. Most delegates thought the human plan was foolish. Why risk learning about the creature when they could just keep trying to destroy it? but their weapons had failed completely. They were running out of options. Finally, the drift chairman called for a vote. All in favor of allowing the human attempt at peaceful contact?
For species.
Voted yes, 7 voted no, 1 abstained. The motion fails, the chairman announced. Hannah felt her heart sink. She was sure this was the right approach. But the coalition wouldn't let her try. Then Admiral Yoon entered the meeting room. He looked tired and older than when Hannah had first met him. Losing half his fleet had changed him. Admiral, the chairman, said, "You've been invited to share military assessment." "Thank you," Admiral Yoon said. "I've spent the last 3 days reviewing our battle with the creature. I've reached some conclusions." He activated a holographic display showing the battle. Footage. First, our weapons are completely ineffective. Creature's defenses are beyond our current technology. Second, the creature demonstrates tactical intelligence superior to our best military computers. Third, it's learning our patterns faster than we can adapt. The room was quiet now. Everyone was listening. Based on these facts, Admiral Yoon continued military action will only result in more losses. We need a different approach. What do you recommend? The drift chairman asked. Admiral Yoon looked directly at Hannah. I recommend we let Dr. Hannah try her peaceful contact mission. But the vote already failed, the Zentarian delegate said. Not asking for coalition approval, Admiral Yoon replied. I'm volunteering to provide military escort and support for a human-led mission. If Dr. Hannah's wrong, we lose 1 ship. If she's right, we might save millions of lives. Ambassador Bin smiled. Admiral, are you saying you believe in the human approach? I'm saying the military approach has failed completely, Admiral Yoon said. At this point, I'm willing to try anything, even human intuition. The alien delegates looked uncomfortable. They didn't like the idea of humans taking the lead on such an important mission. But they also didn't have any better ideas. If the humans want to risk their lives on this foolish plan, let them, the Keth warrior said finally. When they fail, we can return to proper military solutions. Then it's decided, the drift chairman announced. Dr. Hannah will attempt peaceful contact with the creature. May the cosmos have mercy on us all. Now felt both excited and terrified. She was about to face the most dangerous creature in known space, with nothing but her. Understanding of animal behavior and her belief that every living thing had a reason for its actions. She just hoped she was right. Dr. Hannah sat in the pilot seat of the small research ship Harmony and watched the massive creature through the front window. Her hands were shaking, but she kept her voice steady as she spoke into the communicator. This is Dr. Hannah to Admiral Yoon. I'm 1 kilometer away from the target. It knows I'm here. Copy that, Dr. Hannah, came Admiral Yoon's voice from the speakers. The fleet is standing by at safe distance. Are you sure about this? Hannah looked at her friend Day, who was sitting in the co-pilot seat. He had volunteered to fly the ship because he didn't want her to go alone. His face was pale, but he gave her an encouraging smile. I'm sure, Hannah said into the communicator. Beginning approach now. The creature was floating in space near some large asteroids. It was feeding, using its claws to break off pieces of rock and somehow absorbing the minerals. When Hannah's ship had first appeared, the creature had stopped eating and turned to look at them, but it didn't attack. It just watched. Look at its posture, Hannah said today quietly, head tilted to one side. That's curiosity, not aggression. If you say so, Day replied, but his hands were gripping the control stick tightly. You're the expert on alien behavior. As they got closer, Hannah could see details that hadn't shown up on the military scanners. The creature's crystal scales weren't just armor. They were covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and change, and there were scars, old scars across its neck and shoulders. Day, do you see those marks on its neck? Yeah, looks like bite marks. It's from something with very big teeth. Hannah felt a chill. Something its own size. Those are from another creature like this one. The creature suddenly moved. Both Hannah and Day tensed, ready to run. But the creature didn't come toward them. Instead, it turned its massive body so they could see its left side more clearly. It's showing us something, Hannah whispered. Along the creature's left side were more scars, deep ones. But these looked different from the bite marks. These looked like they came from energy weapons. Very powerful energy weapons. Someone else fought this thing before us, Day said. And they hurt it badly. Hannah reached for the ship's audio system. She had spent the last 3 days preparing for this moment. She had studied recordings of whale songs, elephant calls, and other deep-frequency animal communications from Earth. "I'm going to try to talk to it," she said. "Talk to it how?" Sound. Most space-dwelling creatures use low-frequency vibrations to communicate across long distances. Like whales in Earth's oceans, Hannah activated the audio system and played a recording of humpback whale songs. The deep musical sounds filled the space around their ship. The creature's reaction was immediate. Its glowing eyes focused completely on their ship. It made a sound of its own, the low, rumbling call that their sensors could barely detect. "It's responding," Day said in amazement. Hannah played different whale songs. Each time, the creature answered. With its own calls, the sounds were getting more complex, more emotional. "Wait," Hannah said, studying the audio readings. "Play that back," the creature's last call. It was long and sad, with a rising tone at the end. "That's a question," Hannah said. "It's asking us something." "How can you tell?" The rising tone at the end. "It's the same pattern humans use when we ask questions. Universal linguistic structure." Hannah tried something different. Instead of whale songs, she played recordings of elephants calling to their families. Elephants used infrasound to communicate, across many kilometers when they were separated from their herds. The creature's response was stronger this time. The call it made back was filled with such longing and sadness that both Hannah and Day felt tears in their eyes. "It's lonely," Hannah whispered. "It's calling for its family." "But there's no one to answer," Day said. The creature began moving closer to their ship, slowly, carefully. Its huge eyes never left them. "Should we run?" Day asked. "Look at how it's moving. If it wanted to hurt us, it would move fast." This is gentle, curious. When the creature was close enough to touch their ship, it stopped. One massive claw reached out toward them. Hannah could see that the claw was trembling slightly. "Nervous too," she said. The claw touched their ship's hull so gently it barely registered on their sensors. The creature was being incredibly careful not to damage their small vessel. Then something amazing happened. The creature began to glow. Not the harsh light of its energy weapons, but a soft, warm light that came from deep inside its crystal scales. The light pulsed in slow, steady rhythms. "It's beautiful," Day breathed. Hannah was studying the light patterns on her instruments. Pulses matched standard heartbeat rhythms for large creatures. "I think it's trying to show us it's calm." The creature made another sound, and this one was different from the others. Softer, almost like a purr. "Admiral Yoon," Hannah said into the communicator. "Are you getting all this?" "We're recording everything," Admiral Yoon replied. His voice sounded amazed. "Dr. Hannah, I think you were right. This thing isn't trying to hurt you." "It's not a thing," Hannah said gently. "It's a living being. And I think it's been alone for a very long time." The creature settled into a resting position near their ship. Its glowing eyes closed halfway, but it kept one eye on them. Like a dog sleeping near its owner but staying alert for danger. "What do we do now?" Day asked. "We stay with it," Hannah said. "We show it that it doesn't have to be alone anymore." For the first time since the creature had appeared in Coalition space, it wasn't destroying anything. It wasn't searching frantically for something it couldn't find. It was just resting peacefully next to a tiny human ship. And in that moment, Hannah knew she had been right all along. The creature wasn't a monster. It was just lost and looking for someone to understand it. Someone. To be its friend. 3 days had passed since first contact. Dr. Hannah had barely slept. She was too excited about what she was learning from the creature she now called Munyo because of its soft, beautiful light. "Dr. Su, are you getting the translation data?" Hannah spoke into her communicator to the linguist back on Coalition Station Prime. "Yes, and it's incredible," Dr. Su replied through the quantum link.
Oh.
"This creature's language is more complex than anything we've seen. It uses sound, light patterns, and even electromagnetic fields to communicate." Hannah was floating in a special suit outside her ship. Munglo had been showing her pictures, not with technology, but with bioelectric fields that somehow created images in her mind. The first image had been terrifying. Hannah saw Munglo's homeworld as it once was. Beautiful blue oceans and floating crystal cities, creatures like Munglo swimming through the sky in great herds. Then came the sad images, dying star growing bigger and hotter. The oceans boiling away. The crystal cities melting. And finally, the star exploding and taking everything with it. It's the last of its kind, Hannah told Dr. Sue. Its entire species died when their star went nova. How long ago? Hannah received another image from Munglo. This one showed the creature's long journey through space. Years and years of traveling alone, searching for others like itself. Decades, Hannah said sadly. It's been alone for decades. But there was something else in the images. Something that explained why Munglo had reacted so violently to the coalition. Fleets. Dr. Sue, I'm seeing images of other ships. Other species that Munglo encountered during its journey. What kind of ships? The images showed sleek, dark vessels attacking Munglo, energy weapons striking its hide, the creature defending itself, but always trying to escape rather than fight. It wasn't the first to attack other species, Hannah realized. Other species attacked it first. That's why it fights back when it sees military ships. It thinks all organized fleets are enemies. That explains the scarring you observed, Dr. Sue said. But why doesn't it attack your small ship? Hannah floated closer to Munglo's massive head. The creature watched her with one huge eye. She could see her own reflection in that eye, tiny and fragile in her spacesuit. I think it can sense our emotions, she said. When the coalition fleets approached, they came with fear and anger and the intention to kill. But we came with curiosity and the hope for understanding. To test her theory, Hannah tried to project calming thoughts. She imagined peaceful scenes from Earth. Gentle rain on a lake. A mother cat with her kittens. Children playing in a park, Munglos. Light patterns changed. They became softer, more rhythmic. The creature made a sound like contentment. It worked, Hannah whispered. It can read my emotions somehow. How is that possible? Dr. Sue asked. Maybe it's how its species communicated. With each other. Not just with sound and light, but with feelings. Perfect empathy. Hannah tried something else. She thought about her loneliness after her grandmother died. How empty her apartment felt. How she missed having someone who truly understood her. Munglo's response was immediate. The creature moved closer and very gently touched Hannah's space, suit with the tip of one claw. The touch was so careful, so tender, that Hannah started crying inside her helmet. It understands, she said. It knows what loneliness feels like, because it's been lonely too. Over the next several hours, Hannah and Munglo continued their strange conversation of images and emotions. Hannah learned about Munglo's intelligence. The creature could solve complex mathematical problems and understood physics in ways that amazed Dr. Sue. But more importantly, Hannah learned about Munglo's heart. Despite being hurt and attacked by so many different species, the creature still hoped to find friendship. It still wanted to trust someone. Dr. Hannah, came Admiral Yoon's voice over the communicator. We're getting reports of strange readings. From your location? What kind of readings? Energy signatures we've never seen before? Is the creature doing something? Hannah looked at Munglo. The creature's eyes were closed and its crystal scales were glowing brighter than ever. But this wasn't the harsh light of its weapons. This was warm and gentle. I think it's trying to heal, Hannah said. Heal what? Itself. All those scars from old battles. I think the light helps its body repair damage. But something else was happening too. Hannah could feel warmth even through her spacesuit. Not heat that would hurt her, but a comfortable warmth. Like sitting by a fireplace. Dr. Sue, she said quietly. I think Munglo is sharing its healing energy with me. What do you mean? I feel ... better. Stronger. Like when I was sick as a child, and my grandmother would hold me until I felt better. Dr. Sue's voice was excited. Dr. Hannah, your bio readings are incredible. Your stress levels are the lowest we've ever recorded. Your immune system is functioning at peak efficiency. Whatever that creature is doing, it's making you healthier. Hannah floated there in space, bathed in Munglo's gentle light, and felt more peaceful than she had in years. The creature wasn't just sharing its healing energy, it was sharing its emotions too. Its hope, its joy at finally finding someone who understood. "I think I know why other species always attack it," Hannah said. "Why? Because they can't feel what it's feeling. Humans are different. We evolved with pets and companions. We learned to read emotions across species lines. That's why. Munglo trusts me. And why does that matter?" Hannah smiled inside her helmet as Munglo opened its eyes and looked at her with what could only be described as affection. Because Munglo doesn't want to fight anymore. It wants to belong somewhere. It wants a family. "Dr. Hannah," Admiral Yoon interrupted. "Coalition Command is asking for your assessment. Is this creature still a threat?" Hannah looked into Munglo's huge, gentle eyes. The creature that had terrified the entire galaxy was now purring softly like a contented cat. "Right," she said firmly. "Munglo is not a threat. It never was. It was just scared and lonely and trying to protect itself." "Then what do you recommend?" Hannah thought about her grandmother's words. How she had always said that the most dangerous animals just needed someone to understand them and show them kindness. "I recommend we give it what it's been looking for all these years," Hannah said. "A home." 6 months later, Dr. Hannah stood on the observation deck of the new deep space exploration ship Unity and watched Munglo swimming through space beside them. The massive creature moved with pure joy, doing loops and spirals like a dolphin, playing in the ocean. "Still hard to believe," said Captain Day, who now commanded the Unity. 6 months ago, that creature was the most feared thing in the galaxy. Now look at it." Hannah smiled as Munglo noticed them watching and flashed it. Lights in a pattern she had learned meant hello, friends. She flashed the ship's lights back in the same pattern. "Fear usually comes from misunderstanding," she said. "Once we understood Munglo, everything changed." The changes had been incredible. The news spread that a human had befriended the terrible space creature. Every species in the coalition wanted to know how. Suddenly, Earth wasn't the weak newcomer anymore. They were the species that could do what no one else could do. "Dr. Hannah, to bridge," came a voice over the ship's communicator. "We're receiving a priority message from Coalition Prime." "On my way," Hannah replied. In the communications room, Admiral Yoon's face appeared on the main screen. He looked much happier than he had 6 months ago. "Dr. Hannah, I have news from the Outer Rim territories. The Keth have encountered a hostile alien machine near their border. They're requesting human assistance." Hannah wasn't surprised. This was the 5th request for help they had received in the past month. Every time a coalition species encountered something dangerous and unknown, they called for humans now. "What kind of machine?" she asked. "Unknown design. It's been attacking Keth mining stations, but it doesn't seem interested in resources or territory. Now the Keth fleet can't figure out what it wants, and they want us to find out. They want you." "To find out," Admiral Yoon corrected. "Specifically, they want you and Munglo to investigate." Hannah looked out the window at Munglo, who was now doing a graceful barrel roll through space. The creature had become more than just her companion. It had become Earth's first interstellar ambassador. "What does Earth Command think?" she asked. "Earth Command thinks this is exactly the kind of mission we're meant for," Admiral Yoon replied. "Understanding instead of fighting, finding peaceful solutions instead of military ones. And if the machine turns out to be hostile, then we'll deal with that when it happens. But remember, 6 months ago, everyone thought Munglo was hostile too." After the call ended, Hannah went to the ship's special communication chamber. It was a room designed specifically for her conversations with Moonjo. The walls were covered with speakers and light panels that could reproduce the creature's complex language. "Munglo," she called softly. The creature's massive head appeared outside the chamber's window. Even after all this time, Hannah was still amazed by how gentle those huge eyes could look. "We have a new mission," she told Moonjo, through their shared language of sounds, lights, and emotions. "Another species needs our help." Munglo's response came as a warm feeling of excitement and purpose. The creature had found something. It had been missing for decades. It's not just friendship, but a reason to use its incredible abilities to help others instead of just surviving. Are you ready to meet something new and possibly dangerous? Hannah asked. Munglow's lights flashed in a pattern that meant ready for anything, as long as we're together. 3 days later, they arrived at the Keth border territory. The hostile machine was easy to find. It was nearly as large as Mundo, but made of dark metal instead of living crystal. It moved with mechanical precision, cutting apart asteroids and space debris. Just like before, Hannah said to Captain Day, "It's not randomly destroying, it's looking for something." The Keth fleet kept their distance as Hannah and Munglo approached the machine. When it noticed them, it stopped its work and turned to study. It's scanning us," Hannah reported. "But it's not attacking." Munglo moved closer to the machine and began making sounds. Not the musical calls it used with Hannah, but different sounds. Mechanical clicks and beeps. "What's it doing?" Captain Day asked. "I think it's trying to speak the machine's language," Hannah said in amazement. The machine responded with its own clicks and beeps. Soon, Munglo and the machine were having what could only be called a conversation. "Dr. Hannah," came the Keth commander's voice over the radio. "What's happening? Why aren't they fighting?" "'Cause they're talking," Hannah replied. "It's just like with Munlo. This machine isn't hostile, it's lost." Through its connection with Hannah, Munlo shared what it had learned. The machine was an automated probe from a civilization that had died out long ago. It had been programmed to search for signs of its creators. But it had been searching for so long that its memory banks were corrupted. It's been destroying things because it can't remember what it's supposed to be looking for. Hannah explained to the Keth commander. "It's frustrated and confused. Can it be stopped?" "Better than that," Hannah said. "It can be helped, working together." Hannah and Munjo were able to help the machine repair its damaged memory. When its programming was restored, the machine remembered its true mission. It wasn't supposed to be a weapon. It was supposed to be an explorer and teacher, sharing knowledge between civilizations. Another success story, Captain Day said, as they watched the machine begin peaceful contact with the Keth fleet. "Not just a success," Hannah replied. "A new friend for the galaxy." As their ship prepared to return to Coalition space, Hannah sat in her favorite spot next to the observation window. Munglo floated nearby, its crystal scales glowing with contentment. "You know what I think?" she said to her massive companion. "I think this is just the beginning. Galaxy is full of misunderstood creatures and lost machines and lonely beings who just need someone to understand them." Munglo's response was a feeling of agreement and anticipation. The creature that had once been called the most dangerous thing in space was ready for whatever challenges came next. "Together," Hannah whispered, and Munglo's lights pulsed in. Agreement in her dreams that night. Hannah curled up against Munglo's warm side as they traveled through space toward their next adventure. The terrifying alien war beast had become her closest friend and the galaxy's greatest protector. And it all started because one human chose to see past the fear, to look for the lonely soul underneath, just like her grandmother had always taught her to do.